Hi, everyone. So I see a lot of people have joined. I just want to make sure that everybody receives the email that I sent out prior to this, where it includes the agenda for the first training session.
This is Cheryl. I have it, Audrey. I did receive that. In fact, I need to go back in and pull it up.
Yeah, if you can just pull it up and also, check inside that document, because that has in there the link so that you guys can follow along, and your testing username and password, which is going to help you get into the system so that you can perform the actions for the scavenger hunt.
Okay.
So whoever would like to do the scavenger hunt should pull up that email and in there and kind of get the link started, and even possibly sign in with that username and password.
Hi, this is Barbara. Where do we sign in with the username, the test user? Is that in the regular WIBIS?
So I sent an email out a little bit ago, and you're going to pull up that email, and inside the email there's a document called the agenda for the first training session, and then it'll give you, and then it'll have the link to the testing site for this version of WEBIS.
Oh, so we got to click on the link. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't highlighted. I missed it initially, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very intuitive that that you would click on that icon to log in.
Right. I thought it was, I don't know.
Icon, what are you all referring to?
So to log into the test environment, you would have to click the lock icon.
Oh.
And it wouldn't.
Oh, right. The login, where it says login?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So that wasn't intuitive for me to do that. I mean, I guess I'm just so used to, open field for me to just enter in.
Yeah, I think if I recall correctly, WEBIS 2.0 did have that lock field up in the corner, I believe. Or the login box.
Yeah, just to make it look sleeker, but if that's something that you guys would prefer to have, then we can talk about adding in, this kind of field right next to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can we do a quick roll call, Audrey, before we actually get started?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Hi, Barbara, Region 1.
Okay.
Anna, Region 9.
Okay, let's do all of the regions. We have Barbara, and who else?
Anna from Region 9.
Okay, hello. Did I hear Dolores? Okay. And I'm sorry, Sherry?
Yes, I'm here.
Anyone else in the national office? Okay, Victor. Okay. I don't believe James is, I believe he may be in training, so.
Dolores, I just joined.
Okay, hello, Dolores.
Hi. I'm not sure I have the screen that's correct. It says sign in, enter your username, and then your password. Is there anything I need?
Yes, so in that document, it'll actually look exactly like this. So it'll say, you'll type in testuser123@yahoo.com, and then the password is testuser123 exclamation point.
Okay, there's some dots where the password is. Do I need to?
So you should bring up this test user environment in your own Chrome
browser.
In your own browser.
Oh, okay, so we're logging into a separate one.
Yes, so this is my screen for those who'd like to follow along, but if you want to actually like perform the task, then you can bring it up in your own browser.
I don't understand what you mean. I'm sorry.
So we're going to do some hands-on training today. For those who would like to perform the scavenger hunt, you can, within that document that I sent you, is the link that you can open up in your own computer behind the GoToMeeting.
So we can actually...
I have a frozen screen here that I don't know what to do with it.
If you could minimize that screen, Dolores, and open up your email, there should be a message from Audrey that would have the agenda attached to it. If you go into that message, it would provide you a link to get to Weebus so you could log in with the test user information yourself.
Yeah, I just got back, so I hadn't been looking at my emails.
Oh, okay.
There's the agenda, okay.
Was anybody else having that same issue? So you can also have up the GoToMeeting so that if you're having trouble performing the actions, you can follow along with me. So it's kind of like going to go back and forth.
Okay, I put in my username. It's not taking for some reason. Testuser1234@yahoo.com.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then
that didn't work either.
Invalid login.
You have, when you type in your password, you have to, because the issue that I had was I was copying and pasting it, but I had to actually type in the password because I don't think it captured the capital T, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I typed it. I think I did it manually too. And the password is slightly different too. It has the exclamation. It's 123 and exclamation at the end of test user.
yes, ma'am. I think that's in the document, unless
right, I'm just trying to clarify for anyone who may be putting the password in that it's a slightly different password.
Okay, I'm in. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Is everyone else in?
I'm not.
Okay.
Do you want to introduce it, like while they're trying to get logged in? Yeah, I can go ahead and do that.
So while everyone's trying to get logged in, just to kind of give you an overview of what we're doing today, this is our way of providing you to have hands-on access to the Weebus system and kind of have real-time training as we're going through some things. That way, if you encounter any problems or something that doesn't seem intuitive, we can address those issues as we're going and try to correct them and explain it in a way that makes it as user-friendly as possible. So once everyone's logged in, I'm going to turn it back over to Audrey, and she's going to begin explaining how to start a scavenger hunt.
And if you keep up the agenda for the training session kind of like in the background, so if you miss something that I'm saying, or if you would like to, you know, like copy and paste some of those things in, it's definitely a guide, so you guys can create your own. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm saying, but I'm giving some ideas for you so that you wouldn't have to like create your own information to put into the field.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You definitely can branch from that if you would like.
Dolores, were you able to get on okay?
Nope.
Okay, so you did see the link in the document and the...
I have the link and I'm on that page, but I don't see where I go from there.
So
when you get to the actual Weebus website, Dolores, if you click the link, or it's a lock icon, once you click that, it'll prompt you to type in the username and the password.
Oh, the lock. Okay, now the username, I use the test username, is that correct?
Correct. Yes. And then the password is case sensitive, so make sure you do a capitalized T.
So if the first thing that I'd like,
How do I know if I'm in?
it'll say welcome test user.
Okay, it does.
Okay. So now that everybody's in, if you guys can go to the top part where it says home, contacts, reports, and events, you're going to click on or hover over contacts, and we're going to go to manage. And then if you click the search button, it'll bring up a field where you can type in. And something that we did for you guys was we added in the ability to search by your first name. So if you guys would like to go in and type in, you can type in your first or your last name. And I'd like you guys to search for your own, your personal information. So Dolores, you could type in Dolores. Or Cheryl can type in Cheryl.
Okay.
And then that way you guys can see that it searches for that field. Did anybody have any issues with that?
No, it's fine.
This is Victor. So I'm supposed to type in my name and what's supposed to come up?
A list of names that are like yours, but you're essentially searching for your name.
Okay, nothing came up on my end, so I guess nothing.
Okay, so Victor, if you look at my screen in the GoToMeeting, can you flip to my GoToMeeting page?
Uh-huh.
We go to page 6, and we can see Victor, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. Sewell?
But when I do it out on the test page that I'm on, it doesn't come up at all. It says,
Okay.
It just has,
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, are you selecting search here, and then waiting for,
Right.
and then you see this?
Right.
And then you type in Victor?
Right.
Search. And do you see this list of names or nothing comes up for you?
Nothing came up. Hold
on. If you're hitting enter, it may not do it. So make sure you actually click select with your mouse.
Oh, you have to click select. Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Maybe I didn't. Yeah, you need to make that clear. I didn't. Normally people would just hit enter.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes.
It came up now. So you have to.
Okay. Yes, that is, I think, a little bug. If you hit enter, sometimes it doesn't come up. So we'll definitely have to fix that. But if you hit search, then everybody should be able to see their name with their field.
Okay. So you say there's a bug in the system that you have to correct?
Yeah, we probably have to make some way that we can also.
Yeah, right now it's set up to where if you do, if you type in the name and then click tab and then click enter, it'll work. But what I can do is I'll work with the team to see if we can get it to work directly from the text box.
Yeah, that'd be nice because, it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
People normally just hit in instead of just clicking. I don't know. Some people.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more of a step that I think we're trying to fix.
Okay.
Hi, off the screen, there's no click on all of the first 500 or first 100 or something. You have to keep going through screen 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought you were going to put a button up there where we could do 100 at a time or see all or something. as an option?
Yeah, we have that coming up. We're going to be showing you our new search control.
I thought this was new. Okay.
Okay, so this is just like if you wanted to find and manage like one specific contact where you can say select, and this is just when you want to edit one specific contact. And then if we go to contact up at the top again, and we hover over it and we go to search, then we'll have our new, based on I think our last meeting where we talked about, you know, the ability to select and narrow down by other fields. This page is that for you guys, where we can say last name is equal to, and then we can add different criteria, as many as we'd like, and then the check boxes will be the information that will be displayed for you. So we can go in and do that, and I can say my last name is equal to Gladden, and then you guys can say your last name if you'd like, or if you wanted to search by your nickname, or if you wanted to search by, I think there's gender, there's race, and there's also a way that you can do it by code. I think I saw that. Where did that go?
It's under race.
Oh, okay. And then you can search by code, and then it'll bring up the different kind of codes that you can search by. And then you would bring up the fields that you want to see. And then you would select search. And then it'll bring up a template where, like you were talking about, a whole bunch of contacts that fit that criteria and that show each of those different characteristics. And then from here, you can even go back and view that specific contact, or you can print it or download it in an Excel spreadsheet. Was everybody able to play around with that?
Yes. Audrey, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So is this a one-time thing I would do in defining the criteria, or is this something I'd have to do with each record, pretty much?
So this is another way for you to search, because I think in our last meeting we determined that we needed another way to kind of narrow down the fields versus just typing in somebody's last name.
Okay.
And I think that was this was our solution to that. It's kind of like what was in Weebus, the last version, where now you can actually, you know, determine different fields.
Okay.
And have a whole bunch of people that come up.
Okay.
And then you can also, so if you were looking at my screen, I can add another criteria field and then say and or. And I think that was because I think Dolores mentioned that she would like to be able to see, you know, contacts that are Hispanic, that are under certain initiatives, and be able to email them. And so that'll bring up a list of, you know, like Hispanic women under the Business Development Initiative.
Hi, Audrey. I was just in the program, and I don't understand why we have the equals, not equals, greater than, less than, is like, and not like. What if you're in the search and you're searching for, say, people in the state of Mass? How would that fit into it?
So you would say, let me clear this for you. Are you looking at my screen now?
No, I just was in mine, but I can go into yours.
Okay, just, yeah, flip over for just 1 second. And it would say, like, if our last name, you could say it's equal to, if you wanted it to be exactly like that, or you could say, why would you do the greater than? Give an instance where you would do the greater than.
Well, the greater than would be mostly like if you were doing it on dates.
Oh, okay.
And I think you can do it on names too. Like if you wanted to get things like, their names greater than, had more letters than just MO, it would find that. So.
Okay, so I think mostly you would use, the equal to, but if you wanted to search for like a date, and then you could say is, past a certain date or before a certain date, you could use that. So this is just going to define your specific criteria, and then you would say, you can even say like the last name is equal to, and then if you don't want to put anything in this field, you could say add, and it would bring up, I think, still the last people.
No, that would find people without.
Oh, without a last name?
Yeah. So that's like
more complicated than the other one.
Well, the two that you guys would be using the most often is like equals, if you wanted to find something that exactly matches, or the is like, if you wanted to, like if you only knew part of somebody's name, and you wanted to do it that way.
And then it would, then when you check the boxes, then you're selecting what characteristics you would like to see.
Well, is it a way that it could be a little bit more intuitive, where you can put the name in and it will bring up similar names? Like if there's someone's name is Gladys, and then there's, well, let's use last name, Thompson, and then there's Thomas. Is it a way that it can bring up something similar? I mean, maybe that's not a good example.
I think I can say is like.
Because I think, I don't know if that's for the regions, if that would be cumbersome or too much to, it may be confusing. I'm not sure. They can weigh in on that, but because it seems like the system used to be able you put a name in there and it would show you any similar names. It may not be exactly the name, but it would bring up the name if it's in there, if it's exact name or something similar.
Right, you'd put in the first 3 letters or something, and it would all pop up, which is good.
Right.
Yeah,
and then you can select from the choices.
I don't know.
So that is like the one that I just showed you before, like the simple search. If you're going to find like one specific contact that you know that you want to edit, and then this would be more for like if you wanted to find a whole host of names, like to send them an email. And you would select, I guess, like everybody under the initiative, business development, who is, and then you would check the boxes, a gender and race, and then you could find them by, Hispanic women. So it's just another way to find a person, a contact in the system, but it's going to show you more information, and more information at the same time than if you were to just search like we did before.
And I think that information, those options to select and drill down or narrow down what your search is great. But I think for me, the equals part, the equals, not equals, greater than, that's a little confusing and maybe cumbersome. I'm not sure.
I agree.
Yeah, what we can do is we can hide some of those options too, because like I said, I think the ones that you guys would use most often is equals and is like. Because if you do the is like and you just type in like GLA and click on add and then search, it'll pull up everything that starts with a GLA.
Okay.
And it should, I'll
So the equal to is like when you want to say something's exactly like, and then the like, the is like, is going to pull up anything that kind of matches what you added.
Okay, so can you show us that in action? Can you actually type in something and that would, we can select those is less than or is like,
yes,
greater than?
So if you guys would go to my GoToMeeting, let's see if we can do that in action there. So if I wanted to say the last name is like, and then I can say GLA, and then see if we can add that. and I want to see everybody's last name, their race, and their created date by. I'd say search, and then it would bring up everybody's last name that kind of looked like what I put in here.
Okay.
Is like Vlad.
Okay, so it's optional. It's not something that, I mean, we use it as we needed it if we wanted to narrow it down more, narrow our search down more.
Yeah.
What about is less than? Can you do one for
less than
or greater than or?
Let's clear that. And I don't think it's necessarily like to narrow it down. I think what we understood from like kind of like what Dolores was saying last time, where she wants to be able to email a bunch of people that fit the same criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where this comes into play, where if you wanted to find all the contacts in the system that maybe have a similar job title or they're a similar race, to send them like a information about grants or something like that, and that would bring up your list of those people. So let's see what it would do.
You can do event date.
Event date.
When I tried to do a search for event, the state of Texas, and the race Hispanic, I got 3 names coming up. The 3 names that came up were in Washington, D.C. So am I in something wrong? I'm not getting Texas. I'm only have access to D.C.
I don't think it's necessarily something that you're doing wrong. It might just be that our test data is kind of funky and not necessarily in the specific section, because when we created fake events,
Audrey, it's only
yes, you can say
searching
something.
within the group, within your membership. So this test account, I don't know what membership you have them in, but it's only searching within that.
Yeah, so this is not linked to any particular region or national office data.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's just for testing purposes or for demonstration purposes, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm only able to get DC information then, is that correct? Or
so I made this test user a site admin, and I didn't put it in a region so that we could see more of the data. So maybe what you're seeing is like an event that I created that's kind of necessarily not matching up. I just made it for testing purposes. So maybe that's what you're seeing. We didn't add all of your specific data into this testing environment.
right, but you said event. We're not searching for events. We were searching for names.
No, you can search for an event name. I'm just meaning that maybe not all of the events that you have in the old Weebus are in this testing environment.
Okay. No, well, anyway, I didn't get anybody in Texas. I got 3 names, and the 3 names were in D.C., so that's what I was curious about. So apparently I only have access to D.C. information, right?
Yes, with the test account.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so but in the real version or the live production version, you will have access to your specific data. So you should be able to see your Dallas Dallas events.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the search is marvelous the way it's set up. I just was wondering why I only was getting DC. Okay.
Okay. So does anybody else have any more questions or feedback based on this search function?
No, I don't.
Did we show the drop downs?
The drop downs for
the search, like if you do I think you did maybe.
Oh yeah, because she was playing with the event, and like you can do any one of these options for in the drop down list and use that for your search criteria. So I think they saw that. So I think the next thing that we want to do is we're going to have everybody create a contact. So if you go and hover over the Contacts tab again, and then go to Manage, and then you can select Add New Contact. And so this is kind of where you're going to get to play around a little bit and be creative, where you can create your own, like maybe a family name or a pet name, and just kind of create a fictional email account so that we can walk through the steps of creating a contact and then creating the different characteristics for each contact. And so when you first put in an email address, it will kind of go like blue for a second, and that's because it's checking to see if that email address already exists in the system. So if you try to do your own contact information, it won't let you do it because your information is already in the system. And so you can even select gender or race, even though those are not required fields. I know it's something that's kind of important to the characteristic of your contact when you go to search it. So that may be something that you'd want to do. And then at the end, we did add that note section back into the first page of the contact based on our last meeting. And so you'll be able to, you know, keep editing that as you want, and that's on the first page. And then we still have the comment section in the last page, which will give you the option to keep adding on comments or show when the comment was created and things like that. So once everybody has saved their contacts, it'll just still show you the same contact info page, but you can continue over to the right where it says company. And then, so this is a cool feature just because you can select search, and then you can add a new company if you'd like to go through the steps of adding in maybe your company address, and it'll show you where that is in like a Google Maps setting. And you'll save that and, oh.
Try to pick one. I just picked one.
Yeah, but I have the create. Or if you wanted to select one that's already there, you would hit search and then find the one that you just wanted to add just for the demonstration purposes, and it'll bring up that in a Google Map view and kind of show you where it is. You can get directions or hit save. I think when I just tried to add one, there was a little bug there and it took me to an error page, so hopefully that doesn't happen for you guys. But if it does, then you can just hit add one that's already there.
Okay, I couldn't add a company, so what, you said how do I add one?
So I think that was a mistake. When I went through it earlier, it didn't do that to me. But so if you wanted to just add one just to see what it would look like, go to click search and then hit search again. Okay. And it should bring up the ones that are already in the system.
Got it.
Okay, and then if you select it, then it should bring up a map view of it.
Right. Okay, and it's giving us Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Well, I didn't get a map. I did get the company, the Department of Labor, though. But there's no map coming up.
Okay. So on yours, you're not seeing the a little red dot showing where it is?
No. Mm-mm. No, I just get a block showing that Department of Labor, 200 Constitution Avenue, Washington, D.C. with the zip code.
Okay. So that might be a little bug on your end. If you wanted to see what it would look like, you can flip over to mine, because for some reason mine was doing it where I would select like Net Digital Solutions and it'll show like a little Google Map thing that you would see online.
When you say flip over to yours, well, how would I do that? What would I do?
Oh, if you wanted to flip over to the GoToMeeting just for a second, if you wanted to see what the company, what it should look like if you weren't getting a bug.
Oh, I guess I'm not logged into GoToMeetings anymore.
Oh, you're not?
No, because I got out and I followed the directions of putting in the HTTPS thing.
Okay, well, yeah, I think you're still in unless you're on the phone. It's just minimized like in the background. But you didn't want to confuse yourself. I just wanted you to see it. But I can also send this meeting to you afterwards, and then you'll be able to see everything that I did. So we don't want to like mess anything up. But so hopefully we will definitely fix that, but it should give you a Google Map view of where the company is.
Okay.
Okay, and then if we go to the right, this is something that we think is really intuitive and really going to help you guys define your contacts better, because now the codes aren't in a separate tab function. It's within the contact, so you can label that contact with as many different codes as you want. You can even add a code on the fly. If we go to add code, you can see this add new button. And if you were to click add new, you could type in a new code. And then when you click OK, and then you'd click select, it would show that new code has been added to your contact. But if you just traditionally wanted to select an organization code, and then there was like a subcode to that, under organization there's author, business, and we just want to select one of those. And then they would add it there. And then so when you go to report on this contact will come up if you were looking for contacts that have codes under initiatives and organizations. It would then show up as a contact under that report. So you could look for all contacts under initiatives of testing. Did anybody have any issues adding a code or creating a new code for their contact?
I added a code. I didn't create a new code. Well, when you say creating a new code, that would be...
You could actually, if you had just one code that you wanted to add to this specific contact, and it's like because I think you guys wanted to be able to add your codes without maybe going to an admin. So you could, under add code, if you would select it to that button to the right, and then you'll see a little, in parentheses, it'll say add new. You can actually create a new code right there on the spot without having to maybe go to your system admin and say, please add this code to the system. So it can be a whole new code that you've created.
Okay, I can't get into, let's see. Okay.
You see it next to delete and edit. There's like an add new in parentheses.
Got it.
Yeah, and then so if you were to select that and then go to maybe type in a test code, select OK, and then hit select, it would then show up right there on the same page as being added.
Okay. Somewhere along the way, it didn't quite. Okay, got it.
Okay. So hopefully everybody was able to add a code, even if you didn't respond. So hopefully you guys could see that because it is. Yes, ma'am?
The added code is only available on this one particular entry then. It would not be useful for any other entry.
No, it would save it to the database. So if you wanted to, if you were editing another contact later on next week, it would still be there. And you could go under, like say I'm under organization, I just added 2 new codes. You would then be able to see it in a separate contact.
Oh, okay.
So that code is going to be in the database. This is like saying that you're in this contact and you're editing it, but you think, oh, I now need this new code or this new, new way to describe this contact. It'll be there, and it'll be there for all the other contacts.
Oh, great. Okay, marvelous.
Yeah, so that way now you don't have to go to your system admin and, request that they add all these codes. You can do it as you're working.
Perfect.
And so if nobody else has any questions on the codes part, if we go to the right again, we're going to do the relationships, which is something I know is kind of like complicated because we created this for you in hopes that you guys would be able to, make it work with your contacts. But it is a good way to connect your contacts and make them have relationships to each other. So now you don't have like 100 contacts that may have some relationship to each other, but there's no way to connect them in the system. Now you can say, if you wanted to select a relationship, you should be able to select this box and see that you can be a speaker, you can be a sponsor, or you can be a team leader. And so the contact that you're on is the one that's on the left. And then you'd be able to see everything that contact is. But if you wanted to add that relationship, like add somebody to that, you can name, so yourself is going to be the speaker, and then you would search, and you can search for, say, your name, and that would bring up you. And then so the speaker is your testing contact, but then the user is Audrey Gladys. So I'm underneath that testing contact. And so it should show you that relationship, that who is that person above you, and then who are the people that are underneath, the ones that you are responsible for. And it can be any relationship that you guys decide to create. Like we would need your assistance in creating those names for the relationships, the roles in the relationship.
So again, that would be something like speaker, moderator, collaborator, co-sponsor, something like that?
Yes. Any of those names that your regional users, find necessary to have like a relationship with. We just kind of created these as mocks. But if you guys were to say, tell your system admin that you wanted to add like a member or a team leader or a manager, we would do that, and your system admins can do that actually. and that would make the roles available to you. And then you can even create different relationships. Like if you wanted to say the user was the head of the team and then the speaker was below, you could do that as well.
Okay, and I have a question. I guess I'm trying to get to the screen you're on, and you went under Contacts and Manage. Yep.
Yes, so if you go, like, hover over Contacts and then Manage, and then create a new contact. And so that's what we were doing, is creating, and now we're modifying and updating this contact.
Okay, so once you create the contact, I think I must have already created it, and when I went to search for it to pull it up, it didn't come back up. So I wasn't able to get to the next screen that you're on. The name I put in was Kim Doe, or the record that I created.
Yes. And was it already, it said it was already in the system?
No, it was one that I added, so would I not see it because I added it, or?
I have the same problem.
I think that might be a bug. I could talk to Dan. I think when we create one, we have to
stay on that same screen?
No, you have to, I think we didn't put what membership they were in. So I'll go talk to Dan. Yeah, I think that's a slight little bug that we have, but we'll see if we can get it fixed.
Oh.
And so membership...
oh, I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to ask for clarification on membership, because I know we had, that was mentioned before, and I guess to relate to it from our perspective in the Women's Bureau, like what would a membership entail? And maybe there's a different language that we would need to use for that. But
yeah, you can use it as, I mean, we can rename it if you would like. Basically, it's just saying that your contact that you're creating is a part of that region. And that means that that contact can be viewed by anybody in that region.
So can we say...
I was just going to say that your region is what you can see. And it kind of limits what you can see, because we don't want everybody from Dallas editing and updating other people's contacts. You can still view them, but you wouldn't be able to change their data in this contact info section.
So would membership be the region itself? It would be region as opposed to membership? I think that's what we're used to seeing, or is that something different?
It says that it's a membership because we just wanted it to, that's just the name that we came up for it, because that means that you are a member of that region, and it restricts what you can see.
Yeah, I think so. I think for us, we would want to clarify or further define it and say Region 2 or Region 1 or whatever the case may be.
Yes. So, and we can definitely maybe change that name if that's confusing for everybody, but it's just what we've called it to name it something that you are a part of that region, and so you'll still be able to see everything, but you won't be able to go in and necessarily edit. Like if you were to run a report, you could still see events from Dallas if you were from San Francisco, but you wouldn't be able to edit those contacts.
Right.
Unless I was going to say, unless that person from San Francisco gave you permission. So like if I'm in San Francisco, I can say, all right, it's okay if Boston edits my records because, you know, we work together on a lot of stuff. So you would just add, you know, just give them the rights to that, and then they would be able to edit or add or, you know, manage the contacts as well. So you do have that flexibility if you guys choose to use it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am?
This is Barbara, sorry. When you create a new contact, why is it that you can't have all these tabs on top when you're creating the new contact? You have to then go into it in order to get the codes, relationship, roles, events, comments, messages, etc.
So it's
like the main screen where you create the name, address, and then you can, you know, I don't know.
So what you can do is, it doesn't come up until you were to click save, either at the top or the bottom. Yeah.
Right, so it's like an extra step. If it was all there when you're creating it, would make it easier, unless...
Well, I think we don't want you to create a contact and then go through all of those steps if the email is already there. Well, you're not in mine, but if I said Audrey Gladden in this little bar here in the email, it wouldn't let me save it because it's checking for duplicate contacts.
Okay, so what could you put something in the system where, and I think this used to be in Wibis 1, I don't know, but when you put in the email address, the top line, you type in the email address, it automatically will pop up and say this is a duplicate or already in the system so that you don't have to...
It does do that. So, and you said this was Barbara?
Yes.
Okay, so Barbara, if you were to, can you go back and try to create a contact?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so try to create your same email address.
Okay.
If you were to do that, a pop-up comes and it says that you this email is duplicated, and then it even pops up and says it gives you an option to view that record. So if that's the one that you want to view and that's the one that you want to edit, in one step you can see that. And so that's why it doesn't let you go to the next tab, because it wants to check to make sure that email is not a duplicate, so we don't have duplicate email addresses.
Okay, I just did that and it popped up, which is great. But what I'm saying, so now I would say, okay, let me go on to the next contact person, but I still have to save it if they're new. And if I've got like 50 contacts to put in there, I have to save it, get out of it, go back into it just to code it. Like right now we can code it as we're doing it.
So this would be for if you wanted to do one contact at a time and you just had one. And we do have an import feature that we were going to show possibly at our next training session, which would be to add many. And you would be able to add the contact email addresses and the codes at the same time. So this would be just if you have like maybe one or two contacts to add at the same time. But if you didn't want to go create another fictional contact, you could just go and select view record here where you were doing your own email address, and it'll bring you to yours, and then it'll show you the company codes, relationships, and roles that you were just talking about. And then you can just edit your own contact if that's what you wanted to do. So you didn't have to go and create a whole nother contact. And you can do the same thing, Cheryl. If you couldn't find that contact that you created before, and I think that is a bug, but if you went through it before and you didn't press save, then that's why it's probably not saving to the system.
Yeah, but I see hers.
I found it. Cheryl, I was able to find your contact in the system.
Really? Oh, yay. Where did Kim go?
Okay. A couple of pages over after you type in.
She's on a couple of pages over. Let's see if we can tell you what.
Let me go back to it exactly. If you search by the last name.
Search by the last name.
She's the third one in the list.
Okay, let me go out of what I'm in now. Search. Oops, I'm in the wrong one.
And then if you wanted to do it by her first name, she is.
Okay, so I'd go into manage or to search. Okay, here we go, search.
You can do either one.
Yeah.
And Doe, I can do either name, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there's nothing coming up at all.
Go to manage and search for her. That's how I was able to find it.
Okay.
And if you search by, if you wanted to do it by Kim, she's on page 6.
Yeah, nothing comes up at all.
Cheryl, if you're using, nothing comes up?
Nothing at all, right. It just continues to show the search screen and add contacts at the bottom.
Are you hitting enter?
If you hit enter, it may not bring it up. You would have to click it physically with your mouse.
I clicked on the search box after I entered the name. Let's try it again. Okay, yeah, it did come up that time. Maybe I did hit enter then. Okay, so
Yeah,
that was
it's a habit that's hard to break. I do that too.
okay. So Kim Dell, go down.
Yeah, and then so you can now edit this contact as we are, and hopefully for anybody else that lost their contact, you can go into your personal contact information by searching for your name under manage or under search, and continue to follow along with us, or you can switch to the GoToMeeting and you can follow along with what we're doing. So we just talked about relationships, and I was just explaining that function. Did anybody else have any questions about the relationship?
No.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to just chime in that it's 3:29 now. Just wanted to be cognizant of the time. I'm not sure if folks have to get off the call or not. This looks like we probably need more than an hour for our training. So,
and that's totally fine. We can do as many training sessions,
okay.
And maybe this would be a good time to bring up that Brandy and I can also be available for one-on-one training. If somebody feels like this is not working for them, we can do like a one-on-one session where they can even share their screen, and we could help them follow along and maybe direct them to what section they're not using or doing correctly. So that's an option. And we were even considering like doing a set time, like maybe every Tuesday or every Wednesday at like 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. we would be here for a standing help line where we could do like a standing GoToMeeting to kind of help guide you through these issues that some of you are having. But there will also be, like I said, the video tutorials, and there will be PDFs to help you kind of go through that. And if anybody needs to get off the call, there is, you can continue to use this test user email address, and if it won't go away, you can use this link and try to go through it by yourself using the scavenger hunt, because I have some directions in there and also some fictional data that you can enter just to see if that works. And you can do it on your own time, and then we'll be available by email. But if anybody else would still like us to continue, we can still continue. Cheryl, are you still available?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I was reading.
That's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm available.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
Okay, so if you still wanted to walk through, I didn't know. It seems like we still have some people on the call. I see Anna.
I have to log off. This is Anna.
Okay, you have to log off?
Yeah.
Okay, and I can send you this recording as we continue to do it.
Sure.
And so you can watch maybe like the last 20 minutes if we're still on the call for that long.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and I think it's very important, the group sessions are really helpful to me because I get to hear feedback or maybe recommendations for some of the regions that I may not have thought about or other regions may not have thought about. So it's great to have the options either way, individually or group-wise. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we'll continue to plan these. I know you guys said that next week you have another national office training, so we'll shoot for the Wednesday after that for the next meeting or the next training session. So we can we'll definitely continue to do these, and like I said, we can do the one-on-ones, and we can even do like a standing one. But I will definitely send this recording out to everybody, and they can do this, and they can even do the scavenger hunt at their own pace if they'd like. So just to continue on with the scavenger hunt, roles is something that you see now because I've labeled this contact as a system admin, but you won't see that if you are not a system admin. And if you're looking at my screen, it's just a list of roles that your contact can be. And so my contact is everything. It is a system admin, it's a speaker, and it's an event coordinator. But if you were just a user, then you would just see one of those roles. And then we also have the events is still under construction here, but it is working in the larger tab. And then we also have comments, where we showed you, I think this is the last time, where you can add a comment here, and we can just say this is for testing, and you would save it, and it would tell you when it was made and who it was made by, and that's in addition to the notes, just to give it a more organized approach to it, but you can always add it into that first page as well if it's going to be like a standing comment. And then the messages, it will be for the message center when we open up that message center for you all. We haven't turned it on quite yet because we're working out some things, but we will have it turned on when we release this as public. So the next thing that we would like to go over is the events. So if you go to the top bar and you select events, this is definitely separate from the context, because the one, if you select it in the context, you'll bring up an error because that's still under construction. So you would go next to reports, and so you should be able to see a few events that we've created as fictional events. But if you'd like to see the process of creating a new event, you would select Add New Event, and we can create, on the scavenger hunt, I just have NDS meeting with the WB, and we can label that as a meeting, and we would put in an event date. And that would be today. We can do a description. And also, the location is required. So we would say, and you can follow along with that in the scavenger hunt, because I give you items to enter in if you can't think of anything to enter in yourself. But then you would hit save, and it then would bring up several more tabs. To the right, you would see organizers and POCs, codes, and attendees. And you would also see, well, you would see a map of the world because I didn't enter in a specific location. So to the right, you would go to organizers and POCs, because we think this would be a great addition to add to your event, because you can name somebody. You would hit search, and we can name me the event coordinator. And then that way, when you look up an event, you also have a way to look up key personnel that you would need. And I think we talked about it last time. Well, if I had my phone number in, it would show your phone number, your home, your work, your cell, and then your email address. So if you were to run a report on this event in the future, it would show you who the event coordinator was and their contact information. And you can also, as we add more roles to this, you'll be able to see speaker, sponsor, maybe even if you had a different name added to the system, like moderator or manager, you would also see those as well. And so the next important thing that we can see and you can add right on the spot is codes. And so now your codes are in the same space as your event. And that's because if you wanted to run a report on this in the future, you could then search by the code. And so you could say initiative, add a code. You would then select what kind of code that you'd like. And you can even, as I mentioned before, like with the contacts, you can even add one new on the fly if you wanted to add that to that specific event, but it would still stay in the system for you to use in the future. And so you would select that, and now this event is now characterized by Initiatives for Financial Security. And then it's easily deleted as well. Does anybody have questions on the past few event characteristics? Okay, so the next tab is for attendees. And this is good because you can then see however many people you would like and attach them to the specific event. So if I wanted to search for several people, I could, or I could search for a specific person, select their name, check that box, hit OK, save, and it would then be, I would be an event attendee. And if I were to report on this event, you would then see everybody who attended that event. And this will also be able to be mass imported in an import template that's like in Excel, and you would be able to see all those fields. I think also we are working on adding your contact information into this heading. So you would see the name, and then you would also see like their email address and their work phone number, like you were able to do in the organizers and PCs. And so I think that is the last item that we have for today on the scavenger hunt. I think, Cheryl, would you like to see the reporting feature that we've created? Is Cheryl still on? We've created an additional reporting feature based on like our discussion 2 weeks ago. So if you would still like to see it, we can, or we can wait until our next meeting.
Question. So if we had, say, 50 people that went to an event, and we had all their names there under Add Attendee, could we, and I think you mentioned this, we could print out an Excel report showing all their contact information if we wanted to? Like email,
yes.
phone, address, all that stuff. We could print out one report from that, from the screen here that I'm looking at.
So I think this page is just going to be for you to add the attendees, but is that?
Yeah, we can make it so you can export it. Like
Okay.
on this grid, we can just put that same export button where you can do it from there.
Okay, so scratch what I just said. We are going to develop a download feature like you saw before with the contacts when we did that, where it'll show you an icon for download and for print, and then you'll be able to do that from this page here.
Okay.
So right now it does not have that capability, but we will add that in for our next discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and right now, if you went to the search page, you would be able to search on that particular event and download it. We'll just move that functionality, you know, just copy that same functionality over to here.
Okay, and there's going to be a template that we're going to put this information on in order to have it transferred over, or how does that, I mean, I know it's going to be an Excel program, but, you know, like when we set up, I usually do a registration sheet in Excel with all the information, but how do I transfer that onto this?
If you give us a copy of because we created a couple of templates, but we might not have all of the fields that you need. send us a copy of what you put together, and we'll make it so that you could upload that exact template.
Oh, okay. I know you originally sent us a template, and it had like, I don't know, 30 different categories in it. We only basically use like, you know, name, email, company, title, city, address, and phone number.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah, so
simple. When I was
yeah,
trying
we
to
create
a big long screen,
yeah.
it was confusing.
Yeah, we kind of did away with those. You know, they're still there, but we created like a simplified import into the system. So we have like specified templates that you can use. But if you give us something that you guys currently use, you know, we can try to model and import after that as well.
And then that way it would just be like one step. You would fill out that template, and then in, I don't know if you can see my screen, but at the top of your screen in the right-hand corner, there is a little downward arrow, and that would be your import function. And that's where you would import like many, many contacts and many, many events. If you're just doing one, then you would just use this screen. But if you have like several that you need to download, you could do it by your Excel spreadsheet, and we can do away with like the multiple fields and only require certain fields.
Right.
And then that way it would be.
I don't know if different regions have different, you know, areas that they want to capture in a registration form. So could you have more than one?
Yeah, definitely. We can have more than one in the system.
Yeah, we can say like template for region 1 or region 9 or something like that. So if you have time sometime this week, if you'd want to send me over one, I can even, you know, request that from the other regions maybe tomorrow morning.
Great, thank you. I'll do that. Yeah.
And then that way it would just make it so you don't have to enter it in several times. I mean, you could probably just save it to your computer and then import that template.
Okay, and then it will tell me like if I have duplicates going in there, because I know sometimes we do have the same people attending different functions, so they could be in their contact. Will it not include it in the attendee list because it will be a duplicate, or will they still include it and be highlighted duplicate or something? I don't know. How does that work?
Well, what it would do is, because we try to only have one version of the contact in the system, so we would check to see if it already exists. If it already exists, we would just add them as an attendee to that event.
Okay.
You know, so that same person would be in the system one time, but if they went to 20 WB events, they would have 20 events associated with them.
Oh, okay. So if I sent over the Excel sheet and it had their name on it and they were already in the system, they would still show up under add attendee, but their information wouldn't be there, or?
Right. So,
well, their information would be under contacts because it would already be in the system. So you would have like all of their contact information already, but it would kind of link that contact with 20 different events, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it would kind of appear in a report as if you wanted to see how many contacts Audrey Gladden went to, or how many events Audrey Gladden went to, and I went to 20 events. It should show me, that report should show me Audrey Gladden and then the 20 events that I went to.
Okay. Or if, say, I went to an event last week and I pulled up a report of all the people that attended that event, my information would be there. And then I went to an event, say, today, and I put my name under the event attendee, all my information would be there as well, if I wanted a list of all the attendee information.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It just wouldn't, when you're importing it, it just wouldn't create another contact for you. It would just pull from the information that the system already has for you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And that way we can kind of do away with, you know, too many duplicate contacts. But it'll still have, it'll still have your information.
What if somebody that came to an event that we have in there, they're no longer working for this company and the email is deleted? So if I delete them in the contact, will it get deleted from the events, or does it stay there?
Well, I don't know that we actually delete anything out of the system. I'll double check on that. Typically what we do is we archive it. And so if that person got another email address or you archived it and you imported it.
Right, they're no longer working for the company. The email is no longer good. So I went into Wibis and I deleted them from the system.
Yeah, so then it would add them as a...
Right, it wouldn't delete everything, or would it?
Right. Like, if you physically deleted it out of the system, it would delete that person attended that event.
Okay.
But what I think that I think what we do is, and I'll double check this with the team, is I think we just archive that record so that if you ever pulled up that event again, you could see who actually attended.
Even if they've been deleted?
Even if they've been archived, yeah.
Right.
Because we don't really delete anything out of the system.
Okay, so you could still delete that contact, but it would still show that they went to an event.
Okay.
Suppose the person left the company, but they still want to be on your list with their personal information, but their name would be the same. Does that...
You could go in there and you could change the person's email address, and then that person would still have all of their links, everything, exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can maybe we could create a checkbox that says, I don't know, like retired or something like that, like where it signifies that they've left the company, or maybe you could put that in like a contact or a comment section where, you can say like this person's changed their email or they've left the company.
Okay.
So we can definitely think about solutions to that problem.
When will we be able to use this new version?
Well, we wanted you guys to kind of go out there and test it and then give us some feedback. But I wouldn't think it would be longer than, a week or two. But you can go in there and start using it now, just to practice with it. And we're going to be working to, create this version in production and migrate all of your data that you have from Webis 2.0 into, this newer system.
Okay, so anything we would do on the newer system, though, wouldn't be saved, right?
Right. So if you're working in like Webis 2.0, any information that you do in there would be saved. Any information that you do on this test site would not be saved.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the
when
test
this
site
is running,
Go ahead.
does that mean Webis 2 is going to be deleted, gone?
Well, we never really delete anything. Like we even have Webis 1.0 out there on our servers under like Webis Legacy. So we would probably, it's webislegacy.netdigitalsolutions.com. We would probably put this under like Webis 2.0, legacy.netdigitalsolutions.com, so you could always go back to it if you needed to. And then, this one would go at like webis.netdigitalsolutions.com, until we gave it over to, the Department of Labor, and then it would be, your webis.dol.gov.
Yeah, so we're hoping that this system will be more functional for you guys to use, and that you won't need to use the previous version of Webis, but it will still be there for you guys if you need to get information out of and stuff like that. Does anybody else have any questions about the testing site or some items that we went over today? Okay, well, we will definitely send out this recording, and then we'll send out maybe an invitation for our next meeting, which, like I said, I think you guys have something to do next Wednesday. But the Wednesday after that, we will plan on it. If anything comes up like we have done in the past, just shoot me an email, and then we'll kind of revise it from there. so we'll have this out, and then you guys, again, you can look for this scavenger hunt in your email and kind of go through it if you'd like to do it again, or you can continue going through like the reporting features, and even explore further than we went for today. And feel free to send us some feedback in email. So thank you all for joining today, and we will reach out with you guys in the next couple of days.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.